what's going on, guys? Shreddy Roosevelt here, and this is, I guess, the first official video of the Shreddy Roosevelt Shreducational System, where we're going to be talking about what a fretboard visualizer is and essentially what you can do with it. Well, what is a fretboard visualizer? It's something that existed, I guess, until I invented it a little bit ago. It existed pretty much in advanced guitar players' minds, and it's just a way of visualizing scales and patterns on the fretboard. Essentially, when you take the patterns, which really is only one pattern, by the way, and you just start on different scale degrees, but you say, the major scale, which in terms of half and whole steps is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, which is what I have displayed here before you. When you put that on the fretboard, it just has a pattern, because the fretboard, as I'll show you in a little bit, the patterns never change. It's not like a piano where to go from C major to C sharp major, you have to play a completely new pattern. The guitar is simply not like that. So I invented the Fretboard Visualizer, which is just a simple JavaScript which allows you to manipulate the minimum and max fret, and then pick a root note, a scale pattern, and then you can change the handedness as well to display these patterns. And I did this because I think all of this sensationalist guitar propaganda style lessons, for lack of a better word, it's just ripping people off. I'm certainly not the best teacher, and like Ricky and Trailer Park Boys, I don't have the most clear thinking, but this is, I'm gonna do it free, and you be the change you want to see in the world. So let's get into the cool music stuff. So what I have is how I try to start every single person that's going to be learning some music theory. And what this is just a G major scale. So I'll go ahead and play it here. I'll start here on the low string, and you G. Oh, what's funny is the whole time, because I've redone this like 3 or 4 times, I've had it on the wrong thing. So let me just go back and fix that. My mistake, guys. Alright, that looks better. So this is actually a G major scale, which is the notes G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And I'm going to play, the way I'm going to do this is I'm not going to play it like a scale up and down. What I'm going to do is play what's known as playing in position. When you're playing guitar, for those of you that don't know, essentially a lot of what you play is dictated by what position you're in, because the notes can be played in any different number of places on the neck. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to start, and I'm going to play some licks here in G major. That sounds just a little bit scaly, but I'm trying to be educational here. But anyway, those are all the correct notes that you can play. Now let's go back and look, say, at, if we go to G sharp. See, it's the same pattern. And let me put it back in G now. The reason that I like this pattern is I think it's just a very easy pattern to visualize and remember. I feel like when they usually show you the different patterns, there's too much clutter on the fretboard, and you can't really isolate it. So what I'd like to do now, in this brief overview of the Fretboard Visualizer, is go into the next pattern that I kind of, if I'm doing lessons, what I do to have someone learn a new pattern other than this. So go back to interact. I'm going to go to the 7th position. Now, this looks a little confusing at first because you don't have the root note at the root. It's way down here instead of where this pattern starts. So why did I put this up? Well, this is if you start here, because we're going to start in a different place in a bit, but say if you start here at this B in the 7th position on the low E string. Let me go back to interact, show you guys. So what we're going to do is change the scale degree to B, because that's where that root note is, and we are going to pick the Phrygian mode. Now check that out. Now this pattern has a real nice feel to it. It's, you know, got an exotic feel. Play it all the way from top to bottom. So that's always fun. Say if you're in, you know, G major or E minor, you get that nice kind of exotic feel to it. And let me show you another thing that is in this position, and one that you might already know a little bit. Let's change this. You have to always do it on the keyboard, or it will not work in OBS. I have got to remember that. All right. So now what we have here is E minor, which is the relative minor of G major. This was something that I'll cover later on in this series, but they are starting the same pattern on a different root note, same as before with B Phrygian. So what a lot of people have done with this probably is something where you start here on the 7th fret of the A string on the E, and you do a run like this. Standard stuff like that. Well, that is essentially a blues box, which sits over the minor scale. It's 5 notes instead of 7, so you're missing 2 notes. So let me put this in a different position here. Oop, I want to change that. Alright. There we go. Alright. Now this should start looking familiar to everyone. How many people know a guitar pattern that goes like this? So that would be, you know, the E minor blues box. This is just E minor. And the reason that I like to bring that up is everyone knows that pattern, which means everyone already essentially knows music theory if they just learn the 2 extra notes. So another thing that I think would be fun to get into in this video about how to use a fretboard visualizer, and I'm going to go ahead and just change this back to a G major. Almost got it. What you can learn from these mistakes is that if someone as dumb as me can do this, you can definitely do it. Okay, so what I want to talk about now are major and minor thirds. What is a major third? That sounds like music theory, and I don't know if I want to learn music theory. Well, too late because you already do. Let's play a G chord. Everyone knows that. Okay, so let's go up here to the G on the 3rd fret. The next note that everyone knows is the 2nd fret, the B on the A string. Well, this here is a major third, which means that this is a minor third, which we'll cover later. So, well, we can cover it now. So essentially, like let's go to A minor. If you go here and you play the 5th fret, A, and then you come down and you play the C. See, it's not like a major third where they're right together. There's a space between. Well, that is a minor third, and a triad, a major triad, is going to be a major third on top of a minor third, which is why a G chord looks like G. So when you see people, say, doing some fancy playing, like stuff like that, when they're sweeping and stuff, all they're doing is playing chord progressions of major and minor triads. So say, yeah, this here is a C major triad, whereas this is an A minor triad. And the stuff's really, really simple. So I just want to go ahead and point that out, that you can see the major and minor thirds in here as well, and that's what it is. This position, this going from G to B, is a minor third. And then let's say here on G, B, because the G and B string, they have a different interval, they're tuned to a third, you can play a major third like this, which is pretty cool and can come in handy. So my advice would essentially be to memorize this pattern in chunks. You can start in any key you want. I think G major is great because, again, you're going to want that blues box, and the E minor blues box is in G major. But go through and learn it, say, in the 3rd position. Go ahead and learn it in the 5th position. Go ahead and learn it again in the 12th position. And if you're not acquainted with the minor scale, go ahead and learn those extra notes. Don't just play this. Don't just play this. People are gonna love it, and eventually you're just gonna learn the whole pattern as you get these chunks together, and it's gonna come in handy because every single thing that you're gonna learn in music theory will be a pattern that you've already learned on the fretboard and become accustomed to. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for dealing with all of the pauses. Remember to like and subscribe, and it's linked at the bottom. Thanks, guys. See you next time.